Good morning. This is Talk, the home of common sense. 10:52 is the time. Benedict Spence is still with me. You may think he looks like an extra from Narcos, but no, he's not. He's a 70s porn star. No, he's not. He's a World War II prisoner of war. Now, you must answer the poll.
Always the same pornographic genre with you, isn't it?
It's the only time they've got the tashes, isn't it? The Movember is with us with a vengeance, folks. There's a poll out on my X feed. Have a look. Please vote accordingly. I love your... some people are specifying other. Some great options there. We'll get to those later in the show. Right now. Keep you warm on a cold winter's day when we're not allowed to put our heating on or fly abroad to somewhere warm because of net zero targets.
Exactly.
Do you see what I did there? Let's talk about COP29. Someone's got to. Rupert Darwell is the author of Green Tyranny and joins us. Good morning to you, Rupert.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you so much for joining us. Well, we had Keir Starmer doing a sort of quick fly in, quick fly out, and then realising, it turns out I'm the only world leader here because everyone else has stayed away because, frankly, no one cares about the mad net zero targets anymore, apart from mad politicians in our country. And yes, I include the Tories in that. But Keir Starmer's made an extra pledge to cut UK carbon emissions. It's going to be by 81% instead of 78% by 2035. This is compared to our levels in the 1990s. Now, we're probably going to achieve that because we're basically closing down industry, closing down steel and coal and things. So we'll probably get to it by
Julia,
accident, won't we?
also closing down farming. This is really important. Farming is one of the biggest emitters of greenhouse gases, not just carbon dioxide, but nitrous oxide and so forth. So what we're seeing with the plans on inheritance tax is all part of part of it.
Close down the farms, don't eat anything, we'll all die, and there'll be zero carbon emissions, and the world will be a wonderful place for humanity. Oh, there's a catch there, isn't there? Now, what's I find fascinating is in the press conference, and I'm delighted that actually someone asked these questions at long last, because it's only taken them 10 sodding years to start asking the right questions, is what sort of lifestyle changes would be required from the British people for us to achieve more of his net zero targets, and including, of course, the 2030 insane clean electricity target under Ed Miliband's plans, and of course 2050 itself. And he was saying there wouldn't be a requirement for any sort of changes in lifestyle. Now, that's completely untrue, isn't it? Because there's a document published, 4 years ago now, by the Climate Change Committee, the supposed experts on this, the supposed independent advisors to the government, and they made it very clear that a huge amount of the so-called, net zero achievements would have to be carried out by you and me and everyone watching and listening, changing our lives. What sort of thing would that involve?
Yeah, there's a whole column called lifestyle changes, and a lot of it's about diet. So not eating meat, or not eating dairy, to switching to a plant-based diet, driving more slowly, can't fly anywhere. So there's a whole raft of them, and of course the biggest chunk is everyone feeling a lot poorer, and that is where the Prime Minister is utterly deluded.
Well, I mean, yeah, we know, say something we don't know. But this is the thing, when he says it's not needed, and when, Ed Miliband pushes forward these targets for 2030, this is the thing I don't get. If they'd read any of the documents, even this so-called independent report from NESO, this is National Energy, I think, Security System, whatever it is, it's who's a sole shareholder, by the way, is Ed Miliband, the Secretary of State. But he claims it's an independent report. He claims that it said, we're going to be able to achieve this and energy is going to be cheaper. It doesn't even say that. It doesn't actually say they're going to be able to achieve it, and it doesn't say that energy is going to be cheaper. It says it's going to be more expensive. So even his own reports, written by the organisation of which he's the sole shareholder, don't agree with him.
Yeah, I think also when you look at that detail of the report, not only, as you say, does it suggest that energy would be more expensive, but the whole thing, the idea that rushing through to a decarbonised grid by 2030, it's simply unaffordable and unachievable, as we've seen with the wind drought. You cannot do without natural gas power stations.
I mean, the other thing is, this stuff is so basic. Do you think that people like Ed Miliband, like Keir Starmer, do you think they actually believe this stuff, that they've got that sort of Greta, sort of, just sort of obsessive, religious zealotry about it? Or do you think that they kind of know they're not going to do it, but they kind of said it and they can't backtrack now? When they've actually looked at the detail, they're like, well, hopefully we won't be in power when it actually comes to it. What do you think? Because it's not possible to know anything about this and to believe this is possible. It's literally not possible to know the facts and believe that what they want to achieve the way they want to achieve it is possible. So which is it? Are they lying to us, lying to themselves? Do they believe it? What is it?
I think you have to distinguish between Keir Starmer and Miliband. I think Keir Starmer is a human rights lawyer and he has no understanding of economics whatsoever.
Yep.
So he basically, he regurgitates what he's told. Ed Miliband I put in a different category because he was Energy Secretary when the 2008 Climate Change Act was going through Parliament. And he signed an impact assessment statement which clearly says, he signed off, you can see his signature at the bottom of the page, which says that if the world does not decarbonise, does not follow Britain, Britain will bear all the costs, get all the costs and none of the benefits, and it's a bad deal for Britain. So he's up to his neck in telling untruths. He knows the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. But that also, people say, well, he's the Energy Secretary, or he's the Energy Security and Net Zero Secretary. And again, I've always said those two jobs are mutually exclusive. He's got the same qualification I've got from university. So as far as I can tell, I seem to understand the science better than he does.
Yeah, I think he's now in the deceiving people. He deceives himself, and he does these extraordinary sort of TikTok style videos of going on about net zero stuff, and it's just, I mean, it comes across as completely deluded. I think the thing that's changed, you talked about the first time in 10 years a journalist asking what has changed is Trump's election, because he's put it on the agenda and it cannot, this is going to be talked about, and you've seen the Conservatives in opposition start being honest that there are trade-offs. So I think the whole discourse on this is really going to change big time.
Oh God, I really, really hope so. Rupert Darwell, thank you for being a fantastic campaigner on this, author of Green Tyranny. Benedict Spence, just really briefly, I mean, look, finally people are asking the right questions. Are we going to get the right answers?
Finally, but we are not, and it's going to take... The fact of the matter is this government is now installed for the next 5 years, and they are going to run us even further into the ground as a result of this. Really the United States goes through an economic renaissance, as it fracks, as it drills, we are going to be stuck in the doldrums. And I just can't wait to endure another 5 years of this.
It is going to be so bad. They are just so up to their eyeballs in these lies, aren't they?
Propaganda.
It is propaganda. It is lies. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.